Hello, my name is Samuel Moxham and welcome to the Essentials tutorial series. We're on our second part of settings in the Blender game engine. So last tutorial, what we did was we created a settings file and then we read that settings file and applied it to our game settings so that when we started the game we got our settings like so will be applied. Now during the last tutorial I made a bit of a mistake here. Now we're just going to change wherever it says init to menu init. I added some captioning to the YouTube video about this, but just in case you missed it, that should go like that, and if we hit play now, a cube's going to pop up. And that fixes that issue. Now, as soon as we fixed it, we're just going to delete that cube because we no longer need it. So what we're going to be doing today is we've gone through and, as I said, we've got it and applying it from the text file. This time we're going to be working on our GUI, and if we have time we're going to actually work on applying it and putting it into the settings file. So this might go out into 3-part tutorial series. We'll see how we do. So I'm just going to grab the camera here. I'm just going to hit Alt G, Alt R. I'm just going to move it up slightly. Cool. So now we have our camera view, and if we hit play, it's going to start like that. Because we deleted the cube, we've got to delete this line as well. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're just going to make a few, we've got to make sensors, and we've got to add some text objects to display our settings on, and this will be our settings menu. It's very, very simple, but it'll work. We're not going to go too overcomplicated. So I've just added a plane and scaled it to 0.01. I'm just going to move it along the y-axis and scale it along the x-axis by 5, like so, and that gives us a sensor. I'm then going to add the game property, and it's going to be I think it is slot R back, like so, and it doesn't matter what type it is. And then we're going to add a text object. So if you don't know how to add, I'm adding a bitmap text object. If you don't know how to create one yourself, there's plenty of tutorials out there. There's dozens. So I go and suggest you find one of those. I'm just going to go and grab one from my video game titles. Objects. Just got to find a text object in this mess. I think I've gone past it. I think that's one. It says text in the name. I can't tell which one's which. Alt G. So rotate X minus 90. Scale 5. If I hit Alt Z, we're in Blender game, but we're not in GLSL rendering yet. So I'm just going to hit N, open up the side menu here, and just change the shading to GLSL. Cool. And now if I select this, it's got text property in there. I'm just going to push check in big capital letters, play, and we get some checks. Now I'm going to scale this down to about there. We start standalone player. It's readable. That's probably still a bit too big. Still too big. We'll go to about there. And now, of course, we've just got to bring it off the plane slightly, like so. And I'm going to duplicate. I'm going to rename it first. I'm going to rename it to so text right, and then 0.000, like so. And then I'm going to go duplicate it along the x-axis. And this is going to be text left 0.000, and this is going to be, let's just call this the sensor 0.000. and we're going to duplicate this so that there's 8 slots. So we want to have it about there. That is 0.03. How many is that? That's 7. One more. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So now if we hit play in textured mode, we're going to get a whole heap of checks. And that is perfect. Now that is set for how we want it. Now an important thing to note, our text object has to have physics turned off and no collision. And our sensor is just going to be set to static. It doesn't matter if it has a material or not, as long as it has the physics enabled, because we're going to be using it as the click sensor. And in your game you can make that invisible if you want, or like you have it in my game, it's invisible until you hover over it, in which it goes blue. So here we have our menu initialization, and what we're going to do to init it, when this menu is brought up, we're going to have it read what is currently set, I think, in the Global Dictionary, and it's going to display it on this. So the very first thing we're going to have is resolution. I have my resolution above full screen. That's really a pick, something that you can choose for yourself. It doesn't matter which order you put it in. So let's start scene. I warn you, this tutorial is going to have a lot of typing ahead of time, because yes, I can bring up my example if you want and see how many lines there are, but there is a fair amount. So I'll probably I won't be explaining much as I go, because it's mostly self-explanatory, and I'm going to copy and paste as much as I can. So what we're doing now is we're just trying to type and talk at the same time. I'm not that great at multitasking. Come on, give me some slack. Here we go. So at the moment we're just finding the resolution off the screen. Hold on, I've got one too many parentheses there. And it's just displaying it in the text object. So we're just going to find the get height this time. And if we hit play, just find the console. It has no attribute object. Sorry, objects. There we go. And as you can see, I'll just zoom in for you. Let's just go like that. It's gone and it's read the resolution of the current screen, which is 1382 by 778, and it's just displayed on the text object. Simple stuff. This isn't the hard part. So what I'm going to do is, it doesn't really matter if you do this or not. It's actually probably worse that you do this, but I like doing it just so I can keep track of things and keep the flow in mind. So if I'm doing a loop for I in range 8, so it's going to run 8 times, and I'm just going to do each one during each run, so I know what's happening. And there's no real benefit to it, but I do it out of habit. It's a bad habit, but you don't have to follow with me, you don't want to, so you can skip this whole for loop section if you so desire. Cool, so next we're going to bring up the full screen settings. So I'm just going to copy this into my clip bin, change that to 1, and I'll just copy that again because that's going to come up a few more times. So this is setting the text on the left, so that's really just telling it what the title is, and that's just full screen. Now if GD settings full screen, I think that's a capital F, screen text equals 1. Oh, text, sorry. What's that? Setting, I think it is, equals 1. So if full screen is set to true in the dictionary, we're going to go, sorry, that should be an R, 2 lines above, text equals on. Else equals off. So now if we get play, oh, sorry, it was supposed to be left. Oh man, long day, sorry. So just switching them from left to right. There we go, and full screen is currently off. If we, I'm not going to do an example because there's no point, you'll see soon enough. If I equals 2, we are going to go scene.objects, text left, but O2. And I believe this is the vsync. I have a habit of spelling vsync with an E. I'll just hit save there. So, here we have 3 settings as opposed to 2. Settings, vsync, setting equals 1. And we're going to go scene.objects right equals on. Elif, and I'm just going to copy this entire segment here twice. Change our ifs to elifs, and where it says 1, I'm going to go 0, and where it says 1 the second time, we're going to go 3. And when it says 0, we're going to tell the text object to be off, and when it's 3, it's going to say adaptive. So currently in my text, I have it set to number 2, which means that, oh sorry, did I write 3 there, which I can't pronounce? Should be 2. It's going to say adaptive. So if we hit play, I'm getting an error, key error vsync. Line 28. S comes before the Y. Play. Still an error. Settings. Oh, of course, it's just setting. Play. Cool, and there it says adaptive. If you can read that, sorry, it's a bit small. It says adaptive there, and it says vsync on the 3rd line. 3 done. Another 5 to go. So next is if I equals 3, and we're going to go scene dot just copy and paste as much as I can. Text L equals number 3 we're after, and our text is going to say anisotropic filtering. I promised myself that after I finish this tutorial series I'm going to be a master of spelling that word. Haven't quite got there yet. And then our text on the right is just going to say what is in our global dictionary for that. So I'm just going to copy and paste the one that we have for vsync, and we're just going to change it to anisotropic filtering. We can do this for this one as opposed to the other ones, because in this one everything in what's set in the setting is exactly what we want to display on our right side, whereas 1 needs to be translated to on. So there's no actual translation sort of going on here. So we can just do that. I'm going to remove my spacing because I don't feel it's needed here. So we can move on to the next one. And next one is motion blur. So we're going to go scene.objects. We're up to text number 4. And it's going to equal motion blur. And actually, before I move on, I'm just going to make sure that word anisotrophic filtering fits. Okay, so as you can see, I need to have my mouse displayed, mouse cursor. We've got a big gap there. So I'm going to deselect my controller. So if we play, there we go. That's a bit better. Okay, where was I? Motion blur. So if GD setting motion blur setting equals 1, forgot the colon, scene.objects, the text on the right hand side, is going to equal on. Else it's going to equal what am I doing? Off. That's that. Very repetitive. Number 5 is frame rate, I believe. Equals frame rate. Copy that. And again, this needs to be translated to on and off. So actually what I'm going to do is I'm just going to grab this whole section here. I'm going to delete this, and I'm just going to go and duplicate it 3 times. So 1, 2, 2 and 3. Cool. So here we want to go I equals 5, I equals 6, and I equals 7. And we're going to do that for the text objects as well. This is going to be 6. This is going to be 5. And instead of motion blur, this is going to be frame rate. This is going to be profile. And this is going to be debug. And I'm going to change it here as well to debug, profile, and frame rate. And that should be that section done. Play it. Okay, something's gone wrong there. Line 35, key error, anisotropic filtering. Oh man. And this drawing filtering. Right, probably right when I was talking about how I was going to master the word. Setting. I've got an error where it says setting in line 38. Gosh, we're only up to line 38. It should be settings, and of course, because I copy paste it, it will be wrong in all 4. Play. Awesome, and everything's working. So let's just make sure it matches up to what we have in our text document. So window height and window width won't be right because this is the embedded player. Full screen is 0, which means it should say off. VSync is set to 2, which means it should say adaptive. Anisotropic filtering is set to something that's actually invalid, which is 1. So save that, 16. Motion blur is 1, which says on. And we've got 0, 0, 0, which is off, off, off. I'm not sure if you can see that in recording because it's a bit small, but it is all working. Okay, I'm recording in 1080p, so no excuses. If I can see it, you can see it. Okay, so what's next is we need to create some sensors with our mouse so that we know when we're actually clicking these buttons. So I'm going to select our main controller, which you can't see. It's this big spherical thing here. If you've moved the camera how I've moved it, it will be hidden behind the red line. So what you have to do is click the red line or the green line. We're going to change our state to number 2, so we can look at this one. Now I made a mistake here. I'm going to delete the always sensor that I created for layer 2, and I'm going to shift click so I can see both layers, and I'm just going to use the same always sensor for both of them. And then I'm going to add a mouse two mouse sensors. This is going to be called MLC, which is for left click, and we're going to change it to tap. Now if you don't do that, when you click, it's going to be sending a pulse through every single game tick, logic tick that is the mouse has been clicked down. If we set it to tap, it's going to give 3 pulses. One positive for when the click goes down, and one for when it comes off. I'm not sure if it sends tells it that it's been held down as well. That's something that might need some checking. And our other sensor is going to be called MOA, which is short for mouse over any. Cool. And now, just in case you missed it, right click your little sensors that we added and make sure you've got slot R back in all of them. And now, because I forgot, we're going to duplicate it again, make another button down here, which is going to be called apply. The object is going to be called apply. Okay. So now we've got that sorted, we're going to script in our sensor and our left click. So MLC equals cont.sensors MLC. MOA equals cont.sensors MOA. I think that's all I need to do. Sensors, not sensor. Play. No errors. Yes, I have got an error. Line 59. I added a bracket there by accident. Cool. Everything's working positively. So, now we're going to put our sensors, we're going to apply our sensors. So first we're going to check, is the mouse clicking? If our mouse click sensor sends a positive pulse, which means a click has been pushed, it's going to change it. That's what we're going to do next. Now you have a choice here. This is a director's choice. This is a game design choice, whether you want to have it change on the positive pulse or the negative pulse. The negative pulse means that the click has been released. It won't change until they've actually pushed it down and released it. Now that seems to be the standard. I'm just going to be using positive because I want to show people it quickly. I don't want to make any mistakes. So I suggest putting it on the negative. All you have to do is change that to the negative. But you can try out both, see what one takes your fancy. Work out for yourself what the difference is, in case I don't explain it right. But all you have to do is change the positive to a negative. So what I've just written is, if mouse over any has hit an object, so that means our mouse isn't sitting over blank space, it's actually gone over something, which has to be these sensors. And slot R back is in more.hit object, which means we've checked for the hit object. Now it's going, is this in there? In which it should be, in which we can continue. Now, we're going to do it one sensor at a time, like we've just done the displaying of it. I'm sure there's an easier way, but I'm not practical like that. Okay, so more.hit object. What I've just written is I've converted our hit object into a string, which is going to return the name of the object we've hit. And this should return a lowercase sensor .000. And we're going to print working. So, how am I going to do this? I'm going to push. I want to sort of show the console at the same time. So if we go up and go play, and we click this top one, we get a working there. It won't work for anything else here because we haven't set it up for anything else, but that one's working. Fantastic. We are on track. Okay, so what is it going to do? This one's the hardest one. We're starting with the very hardest one because here we have a whole heap of different resolutions which it can change to. I've got a list. I have 13 resolutions. Off that we're going to use 10 for this game, because 3 of them are bigger than my actual screen, which is 1920 by 1080. And if you want a list of resolutions, common resolutions, Wikipedia has a list, and it has statistics on Steam games, So what's being played at what resolution on Steam, which comes in quite handy, especially if you want to get your game on Steam. So what I'm doing now is I've just created a tuple called resList. Yes, it's called resList, but it's in fact a tuple because it's parentheses. And in this, I'm just going to make put in all the different resolutions that I want to have possible to set your screen as. So I'm just copy and pasting, not copy and pasting, I'm just copying this off the Wikipedia page. So bear with 1280 by 960, 1366 by 768, 1440 by 900, 1600 by 900, 1680 by 1050, and last but not least 1920 by 1080, which is the screen resolution that I am using right now. I'm just going to drag this across a bit so that it fits. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 different resolutions that we can set to. So now, the way we're going to do this is, what we've done up here is we've actually, whereas everything else we've actually checked the global dictionary for what it should be, but for this one we've actually checked what it is currently, which means that that can bring up a value that isn't in this list. So we have to account for that, and because we're going to be scrolling through the list one by one through the index, this one, this one, this one, this one, as we click, we've got to create an index property, and also got to make sure that create a first click property so that we know when it's being clicked the first time. But we'll add that later. For now, we will sort out how the list works. So if string, I can just copy across this, I believe. If is that right? No, it's not. That one needs to be there as well. A string in resList. So first we're checking, is our current resolution actually within our tuple? I nearly got caught out then. And then we're gonna because it's clicked, we're then gonna move into the next process of the tuple. But we actually have to make a condition in which it's not. So we'll start with that. Else, we're gonna go own res index equals 0. So we've just created a property, and because our current resolution isn't in our tuple, it's tuple, however you pronounce it, it's going to default to 0. Now that means it's going to default to 800 by 600. If you want, you can change your default to something like 1440 by 900 or 1920 by 1080, one of those common ones, or you could do it if you want, but that's where you're setting your default one, because the index is 0, which means it's the very first in our tuple. And so we'll just quickly do, if it's in the res list, we're going to go own res index equals, and we're just going to copy and cross this. And we're going to go, I think I'm doing this right, own res index plus equals 1. I think that's right. So if we hit play and we click it, sorry, I've pushed I've got a typo somewhere. Here we go. relist should be res list. If we click it, it does nothing. Oh, that's because I haven't got anything changing. I got ahead of myself. So, what we're going to do is we're then going to go and we're going to change the text object to where it is in the index. So scene.objects, and because it's the first one, we're going to go text r.000 and text equals res list, and then we're going to get in our res index, which we've just got. Oh, sorry, I didn't actually explain what this is. So it's saying, okay, that is where it is in the res index, right? We're going to go +1 for that. So when we click it, it's going to go to the next one, and then that is going to be what's displayed in our text object. Okay, and then we're going to go own res index plus equals 1. I believe. And then we have to make a condition in which, if we've made it to the end of our list, we go back to the beginning. So res index equals 10. Own res index equals 0. So if we hit play now and click it, it's going to change to 800 by 600. But as I said, it's going to continuously be doing this, in which we're not going to ever get above 800 by 600. So we need to create a first click condition. So where we initialize our script, we're going to go own first click equals 1. And after we've written our list, we're going to go if own first click equals 1. Do this, and then after that we're going to go own first click equals 0. So it only happens once. So we hit play. When we click, it's going to scroll through all the different resolutions. And as you can see, I'll go full screen for you. As you can see, when it reaches 1920 by 1080, which is there, it's going to snap back to 800 by 600, and it's going to keep scrolling through. Magical. I forgot to check the watch before I started recording, so I have no clue how long this video is going to be. But I forgot to say congratulations if you made it through the last one. It was 40 painful minutes, I know. Cool, so that's the resolutions done. Next we're going to do if full screen. Now the rest of these are fairly repetitive, except for anisotropic filtering. Most of it's just on, off. So I'm just going to go copy paste this line here and change it to sensor 1 to make sure that we're actually clicking the sensor 1 object, and then we're going to go if scene.objects. Now instead of checking the settings that we currently have, like from the global dictionary, we're actually just going to be checking what the text says, because if there's any errors along the line, it's not going to snowball up to this place, because it's just going to take it from what it is, and then when it sets it all, it doesn't really matter because it's what you're changing in the settings. So text 0.001. But if you're very obsessed with keeping it tidy, I'm sure you can name things and reference it all however you want. But this is just easier. Yeah, I'm lazy. Okay, so we're going to copy paste that. So what we're doing is we're saying if text is currently saying on, when we click it, it's going to be off. And if it doesn't, it's going to be turning on. So if we click it, It's going to go on, off, on, off, on, off, on, off. Simple stuff. Cool, I'm just going to copy and paste that whole section. And we're going sensor 2 this time. And we're going to change our texts to 2. Oh man, I pushed 3. And this time we're doing vsync. So I'm just going to quickly comment this, because it doesn't actually say full screen anywhere there. And if I go and change this later on, it's going to give me a bit of trouble. So I'm just going to make sure that oh my goodness, my spelling tonight. Vsync, there we go. And this is resolution. Let's just put a res. Okay, so vsync, we have more than one setting, on and off. It's actually on, off, and adaptive. So what we're going to do is we're going to go if text equals on, it's going to switch to adaptive, because that's what's next. It goes off, on, adaptive, 0, 1, 2. And then we're going to change this to elif. We're going to put that in the same line. Equals adaptive is going to equal off. And then else is going to equal on. Let's give it a try. Off, on, adaptive. Off, on, adaptive. Perfect. I'm just going to copy and paste the full screen one. And I'm just going to paste it in a few times. I forgot how many times, but we'll stop there. So what's after vsync? We've got anisotropic filtering. Okay, so let's just change that to sensor number 3 and change the text to number 3. We've got quite a bit to change for anisotropic filtering because it's got 5 different settings. So where it says if here, we're going to change if is on, it's going to check if it's off, and if it's off, we're going to change it to number 2. Then we're going to go elif. We're just going to take elif equals 2. It's going to equal four. Just going to copy and paste that. Elif equals 4, it's going to equal 8. If it equals 8, it's going to equal 16. And then we've got else. I'm just going to put that in the same line as the else, just to save us a few lines. It's going to equal off. And it's going to go around full cycle. Let's give it a try. Let's make it so you can see. So off, 2, 4, 8, 16, off. Easy. Okay, so what's after full screen? It is motion blur. And we're going to change it to text number 4. And sensor number 4. And that is fine as it is. Don't need to change anything else. And then we have the frame rate profile and debug, which means I have and copy and pasted enough. Let's do another one. So let's do frame rate. Text object number 5. 6 for the next one. And number 7 for the last one. So we probably could have put that into its own little module, but profile. No, I'm done. Frame rate. Cool. So if we go full screen, hit play, we go off, on, 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 and everything is working how we want it to. Awesome. So I think we're doing good for time. I actually don't know how long it is. It's probably too long, but we're going to go for the whole shebang. So now that we've got it displaying, we actually need to apply it, in which it takes what we've changed here and actually chucks it back into the CSV file that we created in part 1, so that when it loads the next time, it remembers the settings that you set in the game when it starts. Revolutionary stuff, eh? Okay. So this is where our last button comes into place. If string.object equals apply. We're going to print working. And what are we going to get? Oh, that's not it. And we get a nice little working there. So it knows that we've tried to apply it, and that's good so far. Now, I warn you, I suggest you take a break for half an hour, because we're going to be writing in another 100 lines. Somewhere around 100. My example has 228 lines in it. We're up to 131. So if you need a break, take it now. Yeah, most of it's copy and pasting though, so don't worry. So it's just going to go applying settings. Now, the way I'm going to do it is it's just going to apply everything, all in one go. The way you can do it, if you want to go more specifically, is you can actually check that it's changed from what it has and then apply it. But what we're going to be doing now is very similar to what we did in our init script, except for now, instead of reading from the CSV file, we're going to be reading from our text objects and then applying that to the global dictionary. Are we ready? I hope we are. I think we are. Huh, I think I forgot putting the, when I did the test, I think I forgot to apply it into the global dictionary, my changes. Oh. Oh well, we will persist. Might have to do a part 3 then, in the end, anyway. So on and render dot get full screen. Sorry, I forgot to talk while I was typing again. That's false. We're going to go BGE dot render dot set full screen 1. So there we're checking if our text object here says on, and we're currently not in full screen, even though it says it should be on, we're going to set it to on. And then vice versa. If it says off, but it is in fact on, we're going to turn it off. Cool. So now, if we go standalone player, and we change full screen to on, and go apply, we've probably got an error somewhere. Yes, module has no attribute, set full screen. Ah, capital S there, sorry. So if we go standalone player and change this to on and hit apply, it goes full screen. But the problem we have is if we start again, it's going to forget that we changed it to full screen. So I think what I'll do is I'll make a part 3, but have the updating of the CSV file in a separate part, in the part 3. So we'll get to applying it and then we'll stop and do part 3. I think we need 2 strings. Okay, so now we're going to be doing the resolution, which in fact we should do first, because if we set full screen then the resolution is just going to scale down on our window, which is a bit of a not very pretty. So BGE dot render dot get window height, and again this is the hard one, and we're going to go plus X, because of course we added that little times symbol, string BGE dot render dot get window width. And if that doesn't equal what's currently our text object, it's going to change it. So here we have to set an X and a Y. And our X is going to be... Okay, so the problem here is we've got 2 settings. We've got the height and the width, and the way we have it in our text object is height and width together. But what's really great is that we've added an X between them, and we're going to use that X as a dividing point so that we know what's our width and we know what's our height when reading the string. And because it's Python, we can do that really easily. So we're going to go scene dot objects text r dot 000, get our text object, and we're going to go dot find, and we're just going to look for the X, and then Y is going to be X plus 1, and that's the index in the string that we've just got. So X is going to be where the X is, sorry to make it confusing by using the same letter, and your Y is going to be the one after the X, so that when we go BGE dot render dot set window size, we need to make sure that this is an integer. We go int scene dot objects text r dot 000 text property, and then we can do everything up to our X value. Right, you guys follow that? So that's all the digits before X. And we're going to go integer, and to get our height, we're going to go scene dot objects text r dot 000 text. Ooh, no, that's not it. Text. So I'm rushing, and then everything after Y. I think I need another parenthesis there. There we go. And then we're going to go if scene dot objects oh no, I think that's it. I think we're good there. So let's give it a test. Standalone player. Okay, we've obviously got an issue there. I've got an invalid syntax, which is in line 131, which is this one here. It's probably my parentheses. I need another one at the end. Standalone player. That's it. So at the moment it's 800 by 600. No, we've got another issue. line 72, can't convert int to string implicity. That is line 100, no, it's line 72. That's all the way up here. 72. Can't convert int object to string implicity. Why? Oh. What have I done wrong? I haven't done anything wrong. The game's lying to me. What? It's working in the it's working here, but it is not working in the standalone. Sorry, just trying to work out what I've done. Because I've done something wrong. I've done something to enrage the Blender gods. No, that's it by itself. It's not gonna... Well, this has me puzzled. Although I'm probably sure you're screaming at your screens, going, well, it's very obvious. But so I'll push on, see how we go. Because of course I did do it all before recording this, and I can't see where I've gone wrong. So we're just going to move on to our vsync. So if scene.objects text r.002 text equals on, and BGE dot render dot get vsync does not equal 1, we're going to go and we're going to set it to 1. Cool, and then we're going to go elif, and it's going to be the same as this, so I'm just going to copy that, and instead of saying on, it's going to check if it is adaptive, and adaptive, when we go and get vsync, is going to come up as a -1, not a 2. We're going to set it to 2. I think, yeah... I think it comes up as -1. That's something I might need to test. Else, and then we're just going to go, well, if it's not those two, it's going to be the third option, which is we're going to set it off. And off should always be the default. Because in case I have an error in my code, which I probably do, it's going to read that. So we're going to go text, moving on to the next one, number 3. So does not equal off, and BGE.render.get anisotropic filtering does not equal integer of what our text object is. Yeah, sorry. I think that's it. We're going to go BGE render dot set anisotropic filtering into the integer of what it is. So we're going to go with that. Oh, sorry. Oh, here we go. And it's going to go in there. And else, we're going to set it to the first setting. I think that's how it goes. No. We need to go L. Elif. And we're going to go scene dot objects text r 003 text equals off. We need to get that BGE set anisotropic filtering to the first setting. Sorry, my chair is very loud. And then the last three are for a motion blur, frame rate, profile, and show properties, and these are all just on and offs. So I'm going to make one, and then I'm just going to copy and paste it, and then we're going to call that a day for part number 2. Oh my goodness, I really hope I remembered to actually push record. Otherwise I am going to be so gutted that my fingers are sore for nothing. No, not actually sore, I was just being dramatic. Else we're going to BGE.render.disable motion blur. Cool, and the rest is just all very similar. So instead of having text number 4 for everything, we're going to change it to 5, 6, and 7. I'm just going to put a gap there, and we're going to be checking if it is on for all of them, but we're just going to change what's been set here. So in this case, it's going to be show frame rate, and that's going to be set to 1. Else show frame rate. Oh man, pressing keys all over the place. It's going to be 0. And this is going to be show profile is 1. And show profile is 0. And this is going to be show properties. Yep, that's right, is 1. And this is going to be show properties as 0. So if we hit play, it's hopefully going to work. No. Getting nothing for those. But if we go on, and apply, we're going to get changing. And if we hit off, we're going to go back to there. And we can turn off motion blur. We can turn anisotropic filtering to 16. We can turn VSync off, and we can turn this all off. And beautiful, we're getting it all set from what we're changing. Now I'm just going to quickly review what we've done today. So yes, we've just written all of this, 171 lines, minus maybe 8 that we had before. 10 maybe. Okay, so first we created the text in our 3D space, and then we actually displayed what was in our global dictionary onto that text. We then, from the text, by clicking the sensor, changed it to the next in line. So if it's off, it goes to on. If it is anisotropic filtering, then it's set to 4, it will go to 8. And then from that, when we clicked apply, it set all our changes. Only temporarily though. Next time we open the game, it's going to all be reverted. I'll be looking into our issue here with our resolution, which will be fixed for the next part. So thank you for paying attention, and I'll see you for part 3. Sorry for how informal this tutorial was, and thank you for bearing with. It's a very long one, but hopefully it's a worthwhile one because it's something quite important for your game. With the next part, I will be releasing the blend file with the text in it. So, yay, with all the scripts in it. Hopefully you guys can use that. So see you next week.